don't plan to keep money in the bank in 2025. All the forecasts that astrologers provide, including my own forecast for 2025, raise a lot of questions about everything that's happening in the world right now, like the rising interest rates in banks for deposits. I won't go into detail about why and how, because unfortunately there's a lot I can't share publicly. I'm giving you one very important piece of advice. Don't keep it. Money in the bank in 2025. It's better to invest your money in real estate, in land, in something tangible and concrete. 2025 will be a very challenging year, and there will be a significant transformation, including in the financial sector of the country and the world. In general, the circumstances will change significantly, and the main advice for 2025 is this: invest your money in something very stable, reliable, and tangible.
Basically, here's what's interesting. Any seers, they see some kind of shape, mainly a specific shape, and then they try to describe that shape to describe it based on their own perception. It's always like that, absolutely. So yes, any reading of the future, any reading of the past, we've done this countless times with the club. The number of times, yes, you always see a certain shape, a certain energy, and then you need to interpret it in words. It's not that hard to see, but interpreting it is much more difficult. So yes, you need to describe it in a way that makes it clear to the mind what you're seeing. It's the same here. In astrology, it's the same story. You see certain planetary alignments, right? But how do you interpret them? Everyone describes things based on their own worldview. Well, basically, based on your own blocks, based on their own patterns and so on.
There is some kind of foundation, even in astrology itself. There are specific teachings that say that the intersection of certain planets, so it gives this and that, and they seem to act according to patterns.
Yes, there are certain patterns, yes, but if you take 5, 6, or 10 astrologers, again, we have a bunch of astrologers in our club, a lot. They still interpret the same charts very differently. The positions of the same planets and even the same ones and the houses, including taking them. Palmistry. I practiced palmistry for many years, and in fact, palmistry is even clearer and more precise than astrology when it comes to lines. For example, the lifeline, yes, there is some common ground, but there are so many interpretations about breaks on the lifeline, islands on the lifeline, chains on the lifeline, countless variations. Moreover, medieval palmistry described it all quite differently. So yes, modern Western palmistry is in one style, while Eastern palmistry is in another style. Overall, 2025 is really going to be a year of big changes. We all see what's happening right now in terms of the relationship between the United States and Russia. Nobody expected it, although it was visible from there a year and a half before that. From the beginning, on the 23rd, around March, after certain events that happened, it was really clear. Things have shifted. The energy has changed a lot, both in Russia and in Europe. So everything that's happening right now between Russia, Europe, and America, we're thinking, not something like that exactly. Not something really unexpected for us, at least for me, for my guys. So she is right. 2025 is truly going to be a year of big changes. That's true. But it's precisely the interpretation that, again, yes, what do big changes mean? That everything will collapse. International connections are collapsing. They are already all collapsing. Everything else will collapse, and the banking sector will also collapse. Yes, and that's already an interpretation regarding money. I don't see that there will be a collapse of the banking sector in Russia this year. I don't see it. I absolutely don't see it. I don't see that this year there will be a colossal devaluation of the ruble. Again, I don't see it. There will be big changes, that's true. There will be some new financial agreements. Everyone is waiting for Visa and MasterCard to return to Russia, so things will need to be restructured. International payment systems, yes, these are very significant changes, really big ones. They are felt at the financial level. Yes, but this isn't a collapse. You see, here's the thing. People, when they see big changes, often get scared. So since there are big changes, they are big changes in a negative direction. No one considers that there could be big changes in a positive direction or just big changes, just like on some parallel branches.
I just thought about them, that it also depends on which branch you're on. That's where you'll end up.
Exactly. So, I don't see any truly global negative changes, but changes will happen. On my part, I keep my money in accounts at Russian banks. And moreover, I specifically looked into this topic. I looked into it about 7 to 8 days ago, give or takes from the day we are filming this video. On the contrary, I see that everything is very good. It's a very steady flow, a very positive flow. I don't expect any negative changes in this area.
So keeping money in banks is generally fine, just like in all the previous years, right? And nothing special is planned?
Nothing at all. The only thing is that interest rates on deposits will be decreasing. They will be decreasing. So right now the economy is, as they say, starting to recover. Yes, the interest rates, the central bank's key rate will be going down. The key rates, accordingly, on deposits and loans and on installments and on mortgages, those who are waiting will see them go down. I think that by 2027, 2028, everything will finally stabilize. It's not a quick process. It's not something that will happen in 6 months. It's not for a year. But I believe that by 2027, at this stage, the branches of reality that are currently visible by 2027, it will stabilize. Inflation will stabilize too.
Well, let's quickly touch on some topics. So it's clear about the Russian banks, but what about cryptocurrency, cash? Is it worth it to keep money in something like that? What other options are there, like buying gold, real estate? By the way, she mentioned buying real estate. So all these options, real estate, cash, cryptocurrency, how's it going?
Listen, well, regarding gold is rising, and it's rising at a very good pace. In the past year, as far as I remember, it has increased by something like 25, maybe even 27%. I'm not an economist, but there was a really significant surge, even more than the interest rates on deposits. Gold is always rising, actually. It either grows slowly or it grows quickly. So investing in gold is a good idea. I don't see anything wrong with gold, on the contrary. Or right now, Elon Musk wants to conduct and pull additional audit of the United States gold and currency reserves. And this, I think there will be a monumental audit, because no one knows for sure if those gold and currency reserves are still there. As far as I remember, they mainly keep them at Fort Knox. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm not an economist, but from what I've heard, that's how it is. In real estate, it depends on where. Actually, for example, the real estate market in Moscow feels a bit, in my opinion, just based on my feelings, it's overheated because the so-called family mortgage was introduced, which has led to the last, not just because of that, but also largely due to it. In the last, 5 or 7 years? About 5 years, probably, yes. They jumped. Housing prices in Moscow have almost doubled, and apartments that used to cost around 20 million are now priced at about 40 million. Will they be going down? It's a complicated question because developers still want to make a profit. Yeah, and everyone has already gotten used to the strong overpricing. I think they will decrease a little. Right this year, it's not the best idea to rush into buying apartments in major cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, Novosibirsk, possibly Yekaterinburg. Yes, Sochi. Sochi is really overheated. I probably wouldn't do it this year. If this is not direct, then this is catastrophic. Need, just in this case. In that case, yes. Well, or if you have a lot of money and it doesn't really matter to you, 20 million, 40 million, in that context, you can buy anything at any time. But if you really want to save money, I would wait this year. I would invest in gold. I would invest maybe in commercial real estate. That's really good right now because Western brands are likely to return to Russia in the near future. And you can invest in commercial real estate because all the places, by the way, are commercially occupied. Now, they are occupied by Russian brands. Well, they are occupied, it turns out, by these very brands, I think from Lebanon, from Libya, I believe, and from Lebanon. A whole group from Lebanon came to us, entered the market. Well, here I'm more speaking from my background in political science.
I look at it through higher education. I mean,
through the highest, I already looked through this topic. It is absolutely identical. The market is a bit more occupied than it was before the brands left. So new spaces for new old brands that will be coming in. Right here, that's good. Some new cafes, maybe restaurants. The salary level in Russia has increased over the past 2 years, so the standard of living has gone up too. Objectively, it has increased. In large cities, it has grown, so that, as they say, for my haters,
they won't pay attention to them now. My haters.
Who has grown? Yes. And what has grown? Yes. No. Still in large cities. I see this with my acquaintances, with a large number of people from very different sectors, both from business and from the public sector, have increased. It has definitely increased. And all of this leads to an increase in consumption, and including the production of purely Russian products. And if you invest specifically in commercial real estate or in business, in your own production, if you invest in something in Russia, I think it will be good. That's what I feel from a higher level. And I just know from my background in political science and the contacts I have at a fairly high level.
Well, in general, let's not panic and calmly keep our money there where someone was keeping it.
Yes, and who wants to work through their blocks? Who wants to work on their connection with the higher self, in order to independently connect with the spirit and read anything from there, including whether to buy an apartment or not? It's about putting money in the account, specifically for you in your case, because there isn't a universal scheme that works for everyone, actually, or doesn't invest. For this, there's my school. At the higher level, accordingly, yes, all the links to the discount group, which will launch soon this summer, you will find it below this video. Come by, I'll be waiting for you.
Dear friends, I invite you all to my course with a personal vision, Return to the True Self. This course has been around for over 12 years. And recently we launched it in English with my complete personal vision in 6 modules, working with blocks, working with egregores, working with the ego, contacting the higher self. Answers to simple questions, answers to more complex questions. And then there's what we call the Great Journey. It's contact with space, contact with the planet, contact with God, contact with anything at your request through the higher self. Health, finances, relationships, purpose, past life. The course is available at any time. You can sign up for it using the link below this video. Come on over. I'll be waiting for you.